for the Henderson Industries boardroom, buzzed with the usual family dynamics as Uncle John prepared to begin the quarterly business meeting. Mahogany panels and old money surrounded the table, where 3 generations of Hendersons had built their industrial empire. Every family member held an executive position except me. Let's address the elephant in the room. Uncle John began adjusting his Rolex. Our tech division is losing market share. Anyone have suggestions? His eyes deliberately skipped over me. I checked my phone discreetly, watching another alert from my development team. AI integration complete. Merger documents ready for release. We could acquire more traditional manufacturing plants, Cousin Peter offered, proud of his MBA wisdom. Tech is overrated anyway. If they only knew my little startup had just revolutionized industrial AI, the same AI about to transform their entire industry. Emily's probably got some wild idea about apps or whatever. My sister Rachel smirked, her CFO badge gleaming. Still playing with your coding projects. Those coding projects had just made me the silent owner of 17 tech companies. But they wouldn't know that for another 20 minutes. Actually, I started, but Uncle John waved me off. Please, Emily, leave the business discussions to those who understand the industry. Your father may have given you a board seat, but some of us remember your failed startup attempts. Those failed attempts were carefully orchestrated steps in my larger plan. Each failure bringing me closer to today's revelation. My phone buzzed again. Markets preparing for announcement. Henderson stock showing unusual activity. Dad cleared his throat from the head of the table. John's right. We need serious solutions, not tech experiments. Speaking of experiments, Rachel continued. Remember when Emily tried to pitch us that AI system last year? What a disaster. That disaster was now worth more than Henderson Industries' entire market cap. The merger papers in my briefcase would prove it in exactly 15 minutes. The AI presentation wasn't that bad. Aunt Martha offered weakly, always trying to be diplomatic. It was just unrealistic for our traditional business model. My phone lit up again. Global tech markets on standby. Integration protocols initiated. Unrealistic. Cousin Peter laughed, adjusting his Italian silk tie. She wanted us to invest millions in some fantasy computer system. What was it called again? Project Quantum. Project Quantum. The same system that had just revolutionized industrial manufacturing across 3 continents. But they'd find that out soon enough. At least she showed up today. Uncle John continued, scanning the quarterly reports. Though I'm not sure why, these numbers are beyond your technical expertise. The numbers were actually pathetic compared to my tech empire's growth. Henderson Industries' entire annual revenue wouldn't cover one day of my AI systems operations. I replied mildly, watching another notification flash. Merger announcement scheduled. Global press standing by. Sweetheart, Dad sighed. Maybe you should focus on something more your speed. Rachel's assistant is leaving next month. Rachel's smug smile grew wider. Yes, you'd make a perfect assistant. I could teach you real business operations. The irony was delicious. In 20 minutes, Rachel would be reporting to my board of directors. I'll keep that in mind, I said, checking the time. The merger announcement was timed perfectly right after Uncle John's signature long-winded speech about traditional business values. Now, about our tech problem, Uncle John continued, oblivious to the corporate tsunami approaching. I suggest we double down on conventional manufacturing. Tech companies are too volatile. My phone buzzed. Final verification complete. Henderson Industries acquisition approved by regulatory bodies. Cousin Peter couldn't resist another jab. Maybe Emily's startup could save us. What was it called? Techer Solutions. Actually, I smiled. It's now called TechCore Global. And you might want to check the markets. The boardroom's massive screens, usually displaying production metrics, suddenly flashed with breaking news. Tech startup TechCore Global acquires Henderson Industries in historic merger. The room fell silent. Uncle John's Mont Blanc pen clattered onto the mahogany table. What? What is this? Dad whispered, staring at the screens. I stood slowly, pulling out the real merger documents. This, dear family, is what happens when you don't listen to the clueless tech girl. Rachel's CFO badge suddenly looked very small as more headlines rolled across the screens. TechCore Global revolutionizes industrial manufacturing. Mystery Techio emerges as industry leader. Henderson Industries to be transformed under new ownership. But your startup failed, Peter stammered. We all saw it collapse last year. You saw what I wanted you to see. I corrected him, activating my quantum tablet's holographic display. Every failure was part of a larger strategy. While you were mocking my tech ideas, I was quietly building the future of industrial manufacturing. The boardroom erupted into chaos as phones buzzed with market alerts and panicked calls from investors. Peter in particular looked like he might faint as his carefully planned career trajectory evaporated. Ms. Harrison, my actual CO, entered her previous disguise as a junior analyst discarded. The global integration is ready. Our AI systems are prepared to assume control of all Henderson operations. AI systems. Uncle John's voice cracked. What AI systems? The boardroom screens shifted to display Techcore Global's true capabilities. Real-time data from thousands of manufacturing plants worldwide, all controlled by the quantum AI they dismissed as fantasy. Remember Project Quantum? I asked, watching their faces as the truth sank in. The one you called unrealistic. It's been running your most profitable divisions for the past 6 months. Rachel's hands trembled as she frantically scrolled through the merger documents. These numbers, they can't be real. The $247 billion in annual revenue I confirmed, though that's just from our public operations. The classified contracts are considerably larger. Dad's face had lost all color. But your office, that tiny startup space, houses the most advanced quantum computing center in the Western Hemisphere, I explained. For those basic computers you mocked, more powerful than every system in this building combined. My phone lit up with another alert. Military contracts confirmed. Pentagon requesting immediate meeting. Military contracts, Peter wised. You have military clearance. Among other things, I replied, bringing up more secure data. Those coding games you laughed at last Christmas were actually classified defense system architectures. Uncle John grabbed the merger papers, his hands shaking. This gives you control of everything. The entire Henderson legacy is now part of Techcore Global. I finished, though I did try to warn you all last year before you turned down my partnership offer. The screens showed more breaking news. Techcore AI systems transform global manufacturing. Henderson Industries to be modernized under tech leadership. Traditional manufacturing giant falls to innovation powerhouse. But the board dad protested weakly. They'd never approve. They voted this morning. I cut in unanimously. Though most of them didn't realize the innovative tech investor was the same niece they'd written off as clueless. Rachel's CFO badge caught the light as she slumped in her chair. High position will need to be reevaluated, I noted, checking the organizational charts. Though I hear there might be an assistant position opening up. Miss Harrison, my security chief, approached. The Pentagon delegation has arrived. They're waiting in your private quantum facility. Private quantum facility, Aunt Martha echoed faintly. We're 50 stories below this boardroom, I replied, activating more holographic displays. That construction noise you've been complaining about. Quantum computer installation. The screens filled with classified project data, each one representing billions in military contracts. Uncle John's prized manufacturing deals suddenly looked like corner store transactions in comparison. But your startup office, Peter persisted, his MBA credentials feeling increasingly worthless. I visited last month. It was just a basic workspace, a quantum-generated hologram. I corrected him. The real facility extends beneath half of downtown. Those simple workstations you mocked, each one more valuable than Henderson's entire tech division. Dad was still staring at the merger documents, his empire crumbling before his eyes. The family business. 3 generations will be preserved, I assured him as a case study in how not to ignore innovation, though I did try to modernize things gradually. Remember all those unrealistic proposals I submitted? Rachel's face had turned the color of her now irrelevant spreadsheets. The AI integration projects are already complete, I confirmed, bringing up more data. Your most profitable quarter ever. That was my systems running everything while you took the credit. The boardroom's quantum screens displayed global manufacturing networks all pulsing with Techcore's AI. Traditional production methods weren't just obsolete. They were prehistoric compared to my technology. Ms. Harrison, my CFO, interrupted. The European markets are responding to the merger, and the Henderson family's investment manager is having what appears to be a cardiac event. Send medical support, I nodded. The quantum-enhanced kind, not the traditional methods Uncle John prefers. Uncle John's face darkened. Now see here, young lady. Actually, I cut him off. It's Madame CO now. Or ma'am, if you prefer military protocol. Speaking of which, I checked my quantum-enhanced watch. The Joint Chiefs are waiting for my briefing. The screens showed more breaking headlines. Techcore Global reveals military tech division. Pentagon partners with revolutionary AI system. Henderson family empire absorbed by tech powerhouse. The family trust, Aunt Martha whispered, clutching her pearls. All our investments were transferred to quantum-secured accounts this morning. I explained that you might want to check the new ownership structure. Those silly tech stocks you all rejected last year are now worth more than Henderson's entire history of profits. The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the boardroom's windows as my family grappled with their new reality. Below us, the quantum facility hummed with power, processing more data in seconds than Henderson Industries had in its entire history. Ms. Harrison, my quantum research director, entered her previous cover as a maintenance worker discarded. The military integration is exceeding all projections. The Pentagon wants to fast-track the defense contracts. Defense contracts. Dad's voice was barely a whisper. What happened to your little coding projects? They revolutionized military technology, I replied, activating another holographic display. Those games you saw me playing, advanced warfare simulations now used by every major defense department globally. Rachel was still trying to access her CFO systems, but her credentials had already been quantum encrypted. I can't log in. Nothing works because everything now runs on TechCore architecture, I explained, watching real-time data flow across the quantum screens. Your entire financial infrastructure was migrated to our systems at 9:47 this morning. Right about when Uncle John was calling me clueless, the screens showed more breaking news. Techer Global reveals military tech empire. Henderson Industries traditional systems obsolete. Defense departments worldwide adopt revolutionary AI. But the family legacy Uncle John protested weakly. Our manufacturing expertise is being completely reimagined. I cut in bringing up more classified data. Those assembly lines you're so proud of will be replaced by quantum-controlled automation next week. Peter's MBA diploma seemed to mock him from the wall. The business courses everything I learned is obsolete, I confirmed. Though I did offer to teach you quantum economics last Christmas, before you left to brag about your traditional business strategies. My phone buzzed with urgent updates. Global military tech sector transformed. TechCore AI systems redefine defense industry. Henderson family empire faces technological revolution. Miss Harrison, my assistant interrupted. The Joint Chiefs are requesting your presence, and your family's military contracts division is experiencing what appears to be a collective nervous breakdown. I smiled, remembering how they'd mocked my interest in defense technology. Tell them both that the old military-industrial complex ended about. I checked my quantum watch 30 minutes ago. The boardroom's quantum screens displayed classified facilities worldwide, all now running on my AI systems. Every military operation, every defense project, for every classified initiative flowing through technology they dismissed as unrealistic. The maintenance staff, Uncle John muttered, finally understanding the IT department are all quantum physicists and AI specialists in disguise. I revealed that janitor you were so rude to has 4 PhDs and runs our classified research division. The receptionist, former NSA quantum cryptographer. Dad's hands trembled as he read through more merger documents. His manufacturing empire hadn't just been acquired. It had been transformed into something beyond his comprehension. The board meeting, I announced to my shell-shocked family, will now proceed with the new leadership structure. Those who wish to remain with the company will need to complete quantum technology training, starting with basic AI principles. Basic AI, Rachel scoffed, though her voice trembled. I have a Harvard MBA, which is about as useful as a stone tablet in our quantum age, I replied, watching another classified project update flash across my screens. Though, you're welcome to start in the junior AI training program. Assuming you can pass the entrance exam, the quantum facility beneath us increased power, causing the building's traditional systems to flicker. Every light, every computer, every piece of technology responding to my AI's commands. Ms. Harrison, my quantum security chief interrupted. The president's science advisor is holding on line 1. The Chinese military is on line 2. And your family's defense contracts manager appears to be hyperventilating in the lobby. About that hyperventilation, I noted dryly. They might want to sit down for the next announcement. TechCore Global isn't just taking over Henderson Industries. I paused as more classified data appeared. We're redefining the entire concept of military technology. Uncle John's face went from red to white as the implications sank in. His precious defense contracts, the ones he'd refused to let me mess with, were now just small components in my global military tech empire.